Well, apologies, guys. I was trying to get to this earlier, but the passing of Diane Keaton happened a few days ago, but this is more current, and apparently it is confirmed. The singer D'Angelo has also died. Apparently, he died on October 14th, so it's very, very recent. Hopefully, you'll be getting this video soon, but I'm just getting overwhelmed. I'm sorry. So let's begin with Diane, and then we'll get into D'Angelo. A major film actress since the late 60s, of course. Diane is probably most well known for her roles in The Godfather, Father of the Bride, Annie Hall, and many other Woody Allen movies. I'd have to be honest, I know her mainly from the Jack Nicholson, Keanu Reeves vehicle, right? That early 2000s kind of a romantic comedy parody. I think she did a very good job in that. So Diane is a little weird. Although she's a legit movie star, she was never a superstar. She had a few legit box office hits, but she never got into that stratosphere of Nicholson or Pacino or De Niro. She helped formulate what's known as the new Hollywood, right? After the death of the studio system in the 60s, you had this rising tide of new people. Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman, right? Warren Beatty, and apparently she dated Warren Beatty for a while, and they just sort of reshaped Hollywood. Now, again, it's not just a boys' club. We have obviously the famous case of Meryl Streep, and no shine off of Diane Keaton, but Streep I think is usually considered the best movie actress of all time. So she's kind of in her own category. I actually read the memoir by her. It's very interesting. Uh, but again, she gained many roles, a lot of recognition, many awards as well. But Diane Keaton just never really got into that slot of being the go-to character actress. It's even hard to really categorize her. I guess I would call her a theatrical film actress. That's really what she's known as, but she really wasn't known as like only a character actor, right? Like De Niro or Pacino. On the other hand, she has very memorable characters. And I've never seen her in a role where she was slacking. She's always been very, very good. But again, her roles have tended to be either the co-starring role or minor character, or so she's often the lead actress, but not the center focus of the story of the film in question. So it's a very strange career, but she did very well. I mean, racking up a lot of awards, pretty wealthy as well. She actually sold her mansion to Madonna for millions of dollars. So don't cry for her. She definitely died in very good circumstances, although why she died is a little strange. Apparently, her health declined very rapidly the last couple of months because I would never suspect she had any health problems. She was working right into her 70s. So, why she died suddenly, we just don't know. For now, the family's asking for privacy, so we don't know the exact reason for her death. She's received many accolades and homages with her death from Coppola, Woody Allen, and the others, so she'll be very much missed. And it's just been a very sad year all around, right? Val Kilmer died recently as well. And now we turn to D'Angelo, a much more pleasant case, but this one is unfortunately not very shocking. For a long time, I've kind of known that D'Angelo was suffering medically, but how bad it was, I don't think anybody suspected. Born Michael Archer, apparently D'Angelo actually was beginning with some kind of rap group, which did not go anywhere, but led to his making contact with other musicians. And he then later took on the moniker D'Angelo, did a work for a soundtrack, again, started getting noticed, and then exploded. Although at the time, his debut album was a modest success, it did spawn a number of hits. Probably the most famous is Lady. And I can say from personal experience, because I just grew up loving MTV and BT, as well as listening to a lot of black radio, that thing was on all the time. That thing was wall to wall. That thing was a massive hit. Even if you didn't know D'Angelo, didn't like D'Angelo, you were going to hear Lady at that time. If you grew up, and again, I was just a little kid, but if you grew up in the 90s, in the early 90s, yeah, there's no way you're going to escape that song. That thing was a massive hit. I don't care the revisionism. I've heard that all the time. And it's a great song. I love that song. That song's amazing. Now, granted, I was more of a fan of Monica and Brandy. I got Brandy's first two albums. So I'm more decidedly on the Lenny Kravitz, Brandy, Monica tip. But D'Angelo was part of this new, I guess, new movement of R&B. It's really hard to classify what he and Erica Badu did, as well as, I guess, technically, by Outkast, but it's labeled nebulously neo soul, and he was definitely a founder and one of the spearheading leaders. That said, this was a very controversial career. Apparently, he put out this video. Again, the song was decent. I was not that into it. Called Untitled, which became world famous for him and his body being filmed in a certain way. It was very classy. I was like, many people were like, what exactly is the point of this? I didn't know. But apparently he didn't like that. He didn't like sexualizing his image. But there you go. It was a massive hit called Untitled, technically. How Does It Feel? Again, another major hit. Nowhere close to Lady, but again, you can't always have those major hits. So he put out some very well received two initial albums, but then seemed to go away. Again, I spotted him because again, I tried to keep up with the magazines and like this one photo, and there were news of his making a comeback in the 2000s. And again, I am a fan of his. I don't dislike the man. Apparently, he put out a third album called Black Messiah. I have no clue that existed. I am not joking with you. I literally learned today that he had a third album. Like, he had a third album? I didn't think he got to a third album. By all accounts, a very good man, an extremely talented musician. He didn't just sing, he really did perform instruments. So, very, very talented. And apparently was even performing in the early 2000 teens. But he did have a very tragic life. He was just suffering clearly greatly from cancer and battling alcoholism. So, it unfortunately is just normal for musicians to just have two things can be true, be very talented and yet be suffering a lot from so many woes and so many issues. So it's a very, very sad conclusion. But again, we do have an amazing output of work. Again, I mostly looked at his hit singles, right? I got to be honest. I mean, I mainly know him from that. So I would just stress that Lady was all over the place, and there were so many remixes, reattempts to do it. It was out there. It's out there, and the video itself is actually pretty nice. So he's definitely going to be here with world history. If you're interested at all at 1990s pop culture, black history, black music, he's there forever. So he will always have a bit of a mark on our consciousness. But I have to be honest as well that beyond the first album and some singles, and again, that hit song, Untitled, I pretty much didn't know what happened to the guy. Again, even with all these magazines, the internet, so on and so forth, he was an elusive figure. I was like, what is going on with D'Angelo? I mean, I remembered him. It was like, he just disappear? Again, it's very complicated. Some of these singers who, quote, fell into obscurity, they often had really bad label deals. So they officially don't work under the official name they had. So it could be that situation. It could be D'Angelo had to financially, legally work some things out, but apparently still used his stage name. So I don't know. I don't know. And again, given someone who deals with cancer, hey, that's something. That's something. So hopefully he died in peace and without pain. But it looked like a very, very sad conclusion. But again, we have to also remember the high times, and he was up there for a while. He was never Michael Jackson or Prince. He wasn't that huge, but he definitely earned a place. And I was like his next albums or songs are really gonna really change everything. But that never happened. So he'd probably be known as a very powerful early 1990s icon. But beyond that, yeah, how to categorize him or situate him is really hard. But by all accounts, a very lovely person and extremely talented. Paved the road for musicians like Alicia Keys and others who mixed hip hop, rap, R&B, and funk in very weird but interesting ways. So rest in peace, Michael D'Angelo, gone from us way too soon.